Welcome to another episode about financial wellness. As usual, I'm your financial coach, CPA Tonie Njiru, and today we shall be discussing a very interesting topic on investments, passive investments in SACCOs. So I will be seeking to demystify what SACCOs are and how we can better our wealth through investment in SACCOs. So SACCO is a short form for savings and credit cooperatives. So cooperatives is a broader term, and when you talk of cooperatives, you're looking at associations of persons who come together to form a legal entity. And SACCO is one of the many cooperatives. We have cooperatives in housing, cooperatives in production, and such other cooperatives. But for our discussion today, we'll be focusing purely on SACCOs, which are savings and credit cooperatives, because SACCOs provide us with a very good platform for passive investments. The underlying characteristic of all SACCOs, of course, is that the members come together, mobilize their resources so that they can improve their quality of life, savings and credit. So the general nature of SACCOs is that members contribute into the SACCO. So whenever you join a SACCO, you're expected to have an account where you'll be making deposits. Then over time you are able to borrow, and different SACCOs will have different multipliers by which you may borrow. So SACCOs will provide you with several accounts that we are going to discuss. But before we get to the accounts, it's important for you to appreciate that it's your savings together, many of you, that will give you a platform where you're able to borrow for other active investments. But for the sake of this session, we shall be focusing on how you invest in a SACCO for passive returns. So within a SACCO, there are three possible accounts. First, we have the share capital. Share capital in a SACCO. From the year 2004, the law provides that share capital in a SACCO is not refundable. So the money you invest in the SACCO as your share capital, you cannot withdraw it from the SACCO, but you may transfer it. So this SACCO share capital is transferable. So that is the first account. Ordinarily, SACCOs will have a minimum share capital that they will prescribe. So for example, if you are investing in a SACCO like Steamer SACCO, the minimum is 50,000 for share capital. If it's Muasibu, the minimum is 10,000 shillings for Muasibu SACCO. If it's a SACCO like United Women, I think is allowed 25,000 shillings. So different SACCOs will have different minimum. Police SACCO, the minimum share capital has been 50,000. So different SACCOs will have a minimum such that once you hit that minimum, you become a proper member. Some SACCOs will have as low as 5,000 shillings as the minimum share capital. Now, besides that, so that is the first type of account in a SACCO. For you to be a member, you need to meet the minimum share capital in the SACCO. And later on, we'll be discussing how SACCOs are funded and how they operate so that you can see the importance of this share capital. The second account that you need to have in the SACCO is the deposit account, what we refer to as the back office deposits or the non-withdrawable deposits. So these are the deposits that enable you to borrow in a SACCO based on a multiplier. These deposits are not withdrawable unless you're exiting the SACCO. And usually the SACCOs will give you a monthly minimum contribution, or they will tell you that you are free to be making whatever amount of contributions you may need to invest in your SACCO in form of deposits. So the first account, as we mentioned, is a share capital, which is not refundable. Then now we have the deposits, which are known as non-withdrawable deposits or back office deposits. These deposits, you can only withdraw them when you are exiting the SACCO. So if you're exiting the SACCO, by law, you are required to be given back your money upon proper notice to the SACCO within 60 days, subject to availability of funds. You're expected to get back your money within 60 days of the deposit. So deposits enable you to borrow by a multiplier. A multiplier means that, for instance, if you have 100,000 shillings and you're in a SACCO like Muasibu, for their normal loans, you'd be able to borrow up to 5 times, which means you can borrow 500,000. But you would need guarantors or some form of security to secure that loan. because you only have 100,000, so your 100,000 cannot cover the entire loan of 500,000. So that is the second type of account, which is deposits. Then we have a third type of account for SACCOs that are known as deposit taking SACCOs, the DT SACCOs. These SACCOs will have what we call a FOSA account, front office service account or activity. So they will have a FOSA account, which is a normal bank account. So this account you can deposit and withdraw at any time, just like in any other bank. So it's important for us to understand that general outlook of SACCOs, so that we can then be able to delve into how do we invest in these SACCOs, because it's one of the important investment vehicles that you may interact with in the country, especially for passive investments. So for the three main accounts, as we have mentioned them, for your share capital, SACCOs will ordinarily pay you dividends. So as an investor, you invest in a SACCO share capital to earn dividends. Usually these will range from SACCO to SACCO. The amount of dividends that you earn will range from depending on the SACCOs. Some SACCOs will pay as high as 20%. A good example of a SACCO that has paid 20% this year is, I think, Tower SACCO, which is a former Nyandarua teachers. We have had Port SACCO, which is a former Mombasa Port SACCO. They paid 20%. We have had SACCOs paying 17%. I think National Police SACCO paid 17%. We have had SACCOs like Yet to SACCO paying 19% on share capital. We have had Mwasibu paying 15.6%. So SACCOs will pay as high as such on share capital. Then this share capital will earn you dividends. And the rationale and why the dividends are usually higher than the interest, as we shall mention, is that for share capital is non-refundable. Your only way of recovering your money is through dividends, and that is why they will pay a higher rate of dividends. So it's a good investment vehicle, because like if you're able to generate a return of 20% and the tax thereon is usually 5%, which is final, so you take home will be 19%, which is a good rate of return for passive investment. Now for deposits, what we refer to as non-withdrawable or back office deposits, which can only be withdrawn when you're exiting the SACCO, those ones the SACCOs will pay interest. So as an investment tool, you invest in the SACCO either by placing your money in share capital, placing your money in deposits, or operating a fixed deposit. Just like in a bank account through the FOSA, that is a front office services, you may choose to open a fixed deposit account with your SACCO. So SACCOs will pay interest on deposits, that is non-withdrawable deposits, and usually the interest will range from some SACCOs will pay as low as 3% all the way to as high as around 13%. And later on we shall be explaining how SACCOs are able to come up with these different rates and whether they are sustainable or is it a good investment to make in form of investing in SACCOs. So there are three ways in which you may invest in a SACCO. The third way is through fixed deposits. SACCOs will allow you to fix money with them, maybe for a whole year, for 6 months. And I have seen SACCOs paying as high as 12% per annum on fixed deposit. For example, Ngarisha Sacco, which is a former Bungoma teachers, I've seen them paying 12%. I think I've seen also IG Sacco, that is Invest and Grow, offering fixed deposit opportunities for the members. So SACCOs, for you to invest in a SACCO, as I'm insisting, there are three ways in which you invest in a SACCO. One is through share capital, where you earn dividends. Two, you invest through deposits, which will earn you interest. And three, you may invest in a fixed deposit account, which again will earn you interest on monies that are withdrawable. In the first two instances, the amounts are not withdrawable. Then we have the front office account, which you had mentioned earlier, and often than not, these ones SACCOs will not pay you interest because it's just like your normal bank account. You can deposit and withdraw. And it is only those SACCOs that are known as deposit taking SACCOs that will afford you this account. Of course, in our next video, we shall be then explaining the different types of SACCOs that we have, the membership. And in a later video, we'll also be explaining how you can compound within your Sacco, so that you can grow your investments to huge amounts considering the good rates that are paid by Saccos. So we'll also be explaining the governance structure of Saccos in the video that we shall be doing next. So keep watching. We are glad that we are learning together as a financial wellness family. Thank you for supporting us. Continue following us on our various platforms from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram. Thank you very much.